want to talk to you about the importance of wearing your seatbelt each and every time you get into your car. Did you know that 40,000 people die each year in car accidents? This is the leading cause of death for people under the age of 35. Safety belts can prevent death in about half of these accidents. If everyone wore their seatbelts, 20,000 mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, friends would still be here today. That makes a big difference. I want to tell you a story. We have a great Thursday group here in our communication class. We enjoy meeting together and sharing ideas and thoughts. We've come to enjoy and respect each other. Let me tell you a story that might have changed our group dynamic. In March of 2012, Sabrina was engaged to be married, worked 2 jobs, and was taking 12 credit hours that semester. To say she was burning the candle at both ends would be an understatement. She had stayed out late with her fiancé, even though she knew she had early classes the next morning. By the time she got home and to sleep, she only got about 3 hours of sleep. She was tired as she drove home from class. She drove through a long tree-lined stretch of highway, dozing off and on, then through another stretch close to water. As she approached a clear acre plot of newly turned soil, she fell asleep. Sabrina's car rolled 3 times before it came to a stop. If she wasn't wearing her seatbelt, she would have probably been ejected and not survived. Because she had her seatbelt on, Sabrina's injuries were minor. She didn't even have a concussion. She has a small scar above her left eye, and she's slightly damaged 2 or 3 vertebrae that don't even bother her anymore. Sabrina knows she is alive today because she was wearing her seatbelt. If that story doesn't convince you, let's talk about what happens to our bodies in an accident. In the article, Seatbelts, Why You Should Buckle Up by Nancy Montgomery, she will help us understand why it's important to be belted up during a crash. It helps to kind of break this up into different stages. Even after passengers' bodies, first there's the car's impact with whatever it hits. In the brief seconds it takes for the car to crumble and come to a stop, the passengers inside are still traveling at the same speed the car was before the crash. If they aren't wearing seatbelts, passengers keep hurtling forward until they collide with some part of the vehicle or another passenger. That's the second stage of the collision. Even after the passengers' bodies have come to a stop, there is a third collision as their internal organs slam against their bones or other organs. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or the NHTSA, this internal collision often causes serious injury or death. Think of a person's head hitting the dashboard. While there might be a bruise or a bump on the outside, it's the brain colliding with the inside of the skull that causes the real damage. Seatbelts are designed not only to keep you from being thrown from the car, but also to absorb the impact of the crash where your body can withstand it best. That's in the bones of your hips, your shoulders, and your chest, according to the NHTSA. Seatbelts also stretch slightly so your body doesn't stop as abruptly, and they prevent you from colliding with a part of the car or another person. A report from the University of Washington found that when used together, automatic shoulder harnesses and lap belts reduce your risk of death in a car crash by 86%. That's a huge number. James Madison University also notes that seatbelts, when used properly, reduce the number of serious traffic accidents by 50%. Now let's talk about the proper way to wear your seatbelt. The Oklahoma State University website tells us about the importance of wearing your seatbelt correctly. Properly worn means with both straps snugly fitted to transfer the impact of the collision to the parts of the body that can take it, which we talked about before, your hip bones and shoulder bones. With just the shoulder strap on, you can still slide out from under it and be strangled, while the lap belt alone doesn't keep your face from hitting the steering wheel. Montgomery also says that simply buckling up isn't enough. If you don't wear your seatbelt the way it was designed to be used, you won't be fully protected in the crash. Pull the lap belt across your lap and pelvis area, never across your stomach. Buckling the seatbelt across your stomach can cause internal injuries in the accident. The shoulder belt should be snug across your collarbone and chest. Don't wear it under your arm or behind your back. If you're at least 4'8" and weigh 80 pounds, the seatbelt should fit you. Adults shorter than 4'8" and children should use a booster seat so that the shoulder harness and lap belt will fit, according to the NHTSA. Now let's take a look at a few statistics. These are from the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Who do you think is less likely to wear a seatbelt? Of teens aged 13 to 20 that died in crashes in 2012, Approximately 55% of them were not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. Adults age 18 to 34 are less likely to wear seatbelts than adults ages 35 or older. Men, you're 10% less likely to wear a seatbelt than a woman. Adults who live in rural areas are 10% less likely to wear seatbelts, meaning only 78% of you use them. And adults who live in urban and suburban areas, 87% use them. Seatbelt use is lower in states with secondary enforcement seatbelt laws or no seatbelt laws, 80%, compared to states with primary enforcement laws, 89%. Rear seat passengers are less likely than front seat passengers to wear a seatbelt, making them more likely to injure themselves and other passengers in a crash. So we've talked about the number of deaths caused by auto accidents, how many could be prevented if people wore their seatbelts. We have heard the story of how one of our own classmates is here today because she chose to wear her seatbelt. Some of you might have similar stories. We have learned that what our bodies go through in an accident and how seatbelts protect us against more severe injuries. We know how to wear our seatbelts, and we know who's more likely to wear or not wear their seatbelt. So let's just take a minute, kind of rehash those facts that we've learned, and think about it. Let's make a decision today. Let's make a decision to beat all those statistics I just read and choose that every time you get into a car, whether in your front seat or the back seat, you buckle up. Respect yourself, love your family and your friends enough to buckle up. Thank you.